Coming up in the news, COVID-19 hospitalizations climbing across the country. Also, eligible voters rush to register to vote on Grand Bahama. And millions of dollars being invested to reopen Solomon's Freeport in a key location. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shashina Wolfarkas, and as always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama weighing in on the planned $3.5 million investment by AML in the downtown area of Freeport. Minister Thompson calling it good news for the economy that should result in other spin-off businesses in the city center. Italia Hall has our top story.
It's a new addition that is said to come to the downtown area. Abaco Markets Limited announcing that the company will invest some $3.5 million to reopen Solomon's Freeport in the former Winn-Dixie building. The company says they have signed a long-term lease secured for up to 30 years. Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, calling the investment by AML good news, and notes that the government is looking forward to the transformation of that once thriving shopping area.
It really speaks to the fact that the future of the downtown area looks extremely bright and extremely promising. It will provide the much needed foot traffic to the downtown area. It will breathe life back into the downtown area, which is something that we are looking forward to. It will provide immediate construction jobs for persons in Grand Bahama.
Now, you may remember that Solomon's original location on Queens Highway was destroyed by Hurricane Dorian. And as for Winn-Dixie, that store was sold in 2006. City Market then took it over, and that store began experiencing challenges in 2011. Shortly thereafter, City Market closed their doors. Minister Thompson says the government has been focusing on revitalization of downtown Freeport by renovating buildings like the Garnet Lavarity Justice Center and more.
Second, by renovating the post office, which is under renovations now. Also, by ensuring that we brought back up, which we have completed the first phase of the Rand Memorial Hospital as well, and we renovated the Ministry of Agriculture building and provided additional vendors at the Ministry of Agriculture building. So we have been working towards the renovations and revitalizing of the downtown area, but in addition to that, this will just complement what the AML and what Solomon's are doing in the area. We also understand that the University of the Bahamas, they are also working on plans to move into their a downtown location. And again, that tremendously will provide more economic activity.
Now, the new 20,000 square foot store will feature a Solomon's neighborhood format and will add approximately 40 new jobs to the Freeport economy. The minister is urging all business owners in the area to get their businesses prepared for more customers.
We are looking forward again for the opportunities that this is going to bring to the businesses that are already in the downtown area. And so we are encouraging those businesses to get themselves ready for the additional foot traffic that's going to come. We want people to look at opportunities for additional restaurants. We want them to look at cafes. We want them to look at other businesses and office spaces that can be done there. Again, to take advantage of that foot traffic that we anticipate and we know is going to come as a result of the initiative with AML Foods. The government also is working on an initiative in that area that we believe also will provide additional foot traffic in there. So we are really, really looking forward to the revitalization of the downtown area. The future of the downtown area looks extremely bright here in Freeport.
Now, the store downtown Freeport is expected to be complete in March of 2022. Additionally, the company previously announced that a $1 million renovation plan for Solomon's Lakaya, but due to unforeseen delays from suppliers, the project is now projected to be complete by mid-August. It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Well, there was a rush at the Parliamentary Registration Department today as residents turned up in large numbers to register to vote. Tonight, the Assistant Parliamentary Commissioner shares what could be the reason for the significant increase, as residents say at this point they are leaving nothing to chance. Long lines at the Parliamentary Registration Department here on Grand Bahama. Many residents lining up in the blazing heat, all in an effort to register for the upcoming election.
Well, persons were at most of the stations before we opened our doors, waiting. And then, of course, once 9:30 or 10 o'clock at the other centers, the lines continued to grow.
On Sunday, the Progressive Liberal Party held a press conference urging residents throughout the country to register to vote. According to the PLP, a snap election will be called and residents would only have until today to register before Parliament is dissolved on Tuesday. House Speaker Halton Mutri also posting on his page on Sunday that his prediction is that Parliament could be dissolved as early as this Tuesday, and the last chance to register would be today. Well, we asked Assistant Parliamentary Commissioner Denise Pinder if she believes if this is the reason for the increase in persons showing up to register.
I'm certain it did. I'm certain that it did.
But the nation's leader telling reporters in Nassau Monday that only the Prime Minister can make such a decision, and he's not surprised by the statement made by the opposition leader. When asked if Parliament would be dissolved this week, the nation's leader said the leader of the opposition talked about dissolution, and the Prime Minister has not. Yet residents on Grand Bahama are taking no chance.
You know, a lot of people, they have jobs, they want to go now. And you can see a lot of people are here because they feel as if elections will be called, very soon. They feel as Parliament will be dissolved tomorrow. And so they feel like this is the last day. We all feel like this is the last day. So we are just here to register.
It's hectic. I've been out here at least an hour now.
Which number are you?
83.
But you think you're going to wait it out?
I don't know. I ain't sure.
Excited about registering in this upcoming election?
Very excited. Yeah, I came because of the announcement.
First time voter, are you excited at all?
Yeah, I'm really excited, especially how this is my first time voting. It's really...
Any idea who you'd be voting for?
Not as yet. I'm thinking on it. We can wait it out.
How long have you been here?
From 10 this morning.
And get this, Pinder says a large amount of persons showing up to vote are young people.
I think as much as maybe 2/3 of the persons coming in have been new voters, young people.
Now, if you have been impacted by Dorian and you are unclear as to what the process is to register or get a replacement card, here's what you should do.
Those persons can simply present at a center, let us know the circumstances, and if it happens to be because of Dorian, we automatically replace. Now, we do have persons from some areas on the island that were not affected by the storm. Some persons simply can't find their cards. So if that is the case, then it requires that you go and you get a police report and bring the report back to us and we'll replace.
And here's who does not need to show up to the Parliamentary Registration Department.
If you registered for the last election and you haven't moved since the last election, you don't have to come in, but we would advise you to come in just so we can check the information on your card, because we still want to make sure that in 2017 everything was accurate.
Now, we also asked the Assistant Parliamentary Commissioner if she was aware of today being the last day to register to vote. She made it clear that she received no formal communication about a deadline. Therefore, she says unless something changes, the department will remain open. Now, there are 4 centers you can visit apart from the main registration department that's in the NIB building. You can go to the Church of God Hawksbill, the Masonic Lodge Hall on East Sunrise Highway, and Church of Christ on Pioneers Loop. Well, the Ministry of Health confirming 100 new cases of COVID-19 in the country on Saturday, the majority in New Providence, and an additional 38 were recorded in the country yesterday. Based on the latest dashboard, 33 new cases are in New Providence. Grand Bahama has 3 new cases, 1 in Eleuthera and 1 in Exuma. There are 1,133 active cases at this time, and the total number of cases is 13,604. Hospitalization hospitalizations continue to soar, 81 cases in total, including 12 in ICU. Now, here in Grand Bahama, there are 21 hospitalized cases and 2 are in ICU. The number of deaths moving up to 274 following the death of a 76-year-old female of New Providence, and 22 additional deaths are under investigation. Now, as the rate of infection climbs, health officials are once again reiterating the importance of simple health protocols to limit the spread of infection. Well, as hospitalizations continue to climb across the country, tonight the Minister of State for Grand Bahama is admonishing residents to follow the health protocols and not let their guards down. Natalia Hall has more in this report.
For weeks now, the number of hospitalizations on Grand Bahama have been increasing. Head of the COVID-19 Task Force, Dr. Frank Bartlett, noting last week that the rate of hospitalizations is almost at maximum capacity. And if this trend continues, additional restrictions will be looked at and implemented to slow the spread of the deadly virus on this island. Minister of State for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, says this is concerning, and he is encouraging residents to follow all of the health protocols.
Continue to wear their masks, continue to social distance, but even more important, to go ahead and make arrangements for them to be vaccinated. We are seeking additional vaccines, and those additional vaccines we believe are on their way, but we want persons again to be mindful of the fact that a majority of persons who are in hospital are persons who may not have taken the vaccine. And so we want to encourage people to rethink their position with respect to the vaccine. We want to encourage them to go ahead and take the vaccine.
He says residents can help to protect themselves against the virus if they take the vaccine, and there can be a further reopening of the economy.
Our economy in Grand Bahama and how we can open up fully is really dependent upon how many people are vaccinated. And so that's one point that we want to encourage the entire public on. We've noticed the increase in the hospitalization, and we are very concerned. Thankfully, we now have our hospital that has at least been restored to pre-Dorian levels. So we now have the new COVID unit, which is being fully used. We have the operating theaters that are being used. We have the all of the wards, the pediatric ward. We have the med-surg ward, the ICU ward. All of them now are back in operation.
As the rate of infection climbs, health officials are once again reiterating the importance of simple health protocols to limit the spread of infection. Wash hands regularly, stay away from large gatherings, wear a mask covering your mouth and nose, and keep your distance of at least 6 feet. It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Well, we continue our salute of outstanding Bahamians in celebration of the country's 48 years of independence. This week, we will hear from athletes who say they consider it an honor to represent the Bahamas in the sporting arena. Tonight, we hear from a man who knows how it feels to represent the country, as well as report on the performance of the nation's sporting greats. Here's Jay Philippe.
Ricardo Lightburn, a well-known and respected name not just in the Bahamas, but throughout the entire Caribbean region as a sports broadcaster and former junior national athlete. Nowadays, you can find him on the golf course from time to time, but Ricardo has been the voice of sports for 30 years, covering every sporting discipline there is. For the sports legend, it all started with playing Little League Baseball at the YMCA as a teenager, then leaving for high school abroad. As a high schooler, he made the Carifta team in 1976, and he says, in his opinion, that was the best Carifta team to ever represent the Bahamas.
Everybody who was on that 76 team came back to the Bahamas in some way or manner and has made a difference in terms of our development and giving back to young people.
From an athlete, he then transitioned to the media.
Using the advent of an athlete to portray that and relate that to the viewing and listening audience has been something that I've enjoyed over the many years of working in the Broadcasting Corporation, and even still today. in the business.
Traveling the world, gaining a wealth of experience, Ricardo recalls perhaps his most memorable time as a sportscaster.
Now, with the world relays that we've had and having to work with a number of international individuals who have come in here that we know from just watching the various sports links throughout the Caribbean and work with them, and even those in the United States was a blessing. And I think that's been my highlight in terms of what I've been able to achieve at this juncture.
However, he believes that there is a lot more work to be done with sports in the country.
Sports needs a heck of a shot in the arm financially. And I say that because we spend a lot of money on the rehabilitation of children, but we don't spend the money on the development of children to where they can in turn become better citizens and better athletes.
For Ricardo, who also goes by the name Ricky, being a sports figure is something that he says he will never take for granted.
My gateway to all of this was, one, coming into the Broadcasting Corporation, and secondly, getting opportunity to go to CNN and to work in their sports department as far as their professional program, and seeing how the world handles the dissemination of sports and seeing how significant sports is to the world itself. That in itself gave me that idea. And I came back home and it's like, I have to be as close as or better than what's coming out on the cable system. So what I give to the public, I need to give them the best that I possibly can. I've always believed that I work for the Bahamian people, and I worked for years to give them the best that I could possibly give them.
As we continue to celebrate 48 years of independence, we salute Ricardo Lightburn for the impact he has made in sports. I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
I love to see my people dancing in the streets.
That's our Ricky, always making us proud. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.